John, obviously, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
We heard everything that was like going on physically in your life leading up to this fight. So I guess emotionally, how is it to, get through camp, go through this catchweight fight, and then, come out victorious?
Yeah, no, it feels good. Obviously, all of us, we're all going through normal life stuff, right? But that's what it's all about. That's what life's all about, persevering and getting through all that stuff and growing off of it. So because of the catchweight, I don't know if you actually heard, but I had a staph infection a couple weeks ago, dealing with antibiotics and stuff like that. So I was ready to make 136 if the opposing team didn't agree to it, but obviously we agreed to 138, which was great.
Were you worried at all that they would say no to the catchweight?
Not so much worried, but I was very relieved that they did.
Sure.
Yeah.
How far in advance did you tell them? Because obviously a couple weeks ago in Abu Dhabi, that was kind of a big story. A lot of fighters hiding their staph infection and stuff like that.
I'm a big proponent on like a closed mouth never gets fed, right?
Sure.
So I asked a good amount, I think probably like 2 weeks in advance, and I actually didn't think it got confirmed until probably like a week out.
So physically in the fight, how did you feel? Like cardio-wise and everything was good?
I felt good, and honestly, I would have pulled out if I was feeling any side effects like during camp. I've actually fought, if you guys remember my fight with Daniel Santos, I had a staph infection there as well, and that one actually did zap me during camp. I thought maybe I'll shake it during the fight, but it zapped me during the fight too. So if I was kind of gauging it like that, if I would have felt any sort of like negative effects during camp, I would have probably pulled out, but I felt great throughout the entire thing. I just took care of the infection, and we're good. We're here.
And correct me if I'm wrong. It sounded like you said you felt you lost the first round. So I guess how was the fight playing out in that opening round compared to what you had expected?
I think maybe just more so. I think I lost the first round just because it was a lot tighter of a round. It was a lot closer. He was landing, I was landing, but you can never be sure in this sport, obviously, right? So unless it's like a decisive round, I always just count it in my head as a loss, and I got to make up for it in the next.
So
round.
that is something like if it is a razor thin round, you just assume you lost it, even
Absolutely.
if most people think you won.
Yeah, and it's motivating too. You know what I mean? If I could tell myself in my head, okay, I'm down one, that gives me motivation for the next round. Like, okay, I got to finish this fight, or I got to absolutely dominate these next 2 rounds. So.
Do you think that was a low blow in there? Because the commentary seemed to question your low kick.
I watched the replay and it wasn't. It was definitely on the liver, and he wanted out. He was hurt. I was touching the body all night. So
that was going to be my next one. If you didn't think that was a low blow, do you think that was just him? Like, did he mentally quit in there? Did you feel?
For sure, absolutely. And my coaches were yelling that in the corner, and I felt it right after that. And I watched the replay, and I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, that was right on the liver. And then, sure enough, like shortly after that, I got kind of kicked in the groin. And I don't know if that was kind of on purpose either, but I was like, no, let's go. Like, I'm ready right now because I was ready to push the pace on him. So
last one for me. When do you want to fight again? And at what point do you start asking for, locations, dates, names, and all that?
I'm never one to call out opponents or anything like that. I'm just ready for whatever the UFC has next for me. But I want to stay active. I want to get in there early next year. I know my manager was telling me that UFC is pretty booked up until December, January. So maybe January, February, something like that. That'd be awesome right after the holidays.
Hey, John, over here. Yeah. So you just said you want to stay active next year, get in there early. I'm just wondering, what other goals do you have for 2024?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to have at least 3 fights next year, minimum. I've won 4 out of my last fights. I feel like I'm at least due for put me in the conversation for a top 15 guy, right? I'm always analyzing the top 15 guys, especially the 10 through 15, and stylistically, I feel like I match up well against them. A lot of them. Like I said, I'm not one to call people out, but if I were to call somebody out, I really, really would love a fight with Adrian Yanez. Not because it's like a disrespect thing, but stylistically, I think we can put on a banger. Absolutely.
So, sounded like a little bit of a respectful call out, but is that
Sure, right.
that's
Yeah.
safe to say first potential?
More so like a hopeful, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. A little hopeful call out.
You going to keep the mustache?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm done with the no mustache. Yeah, it makes me look like a weird.
But are you going to shave it throughout November?
No, I'll leave it. I'm going to leave it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Oh. Good. Appreciate you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to ask you, what do you feel like you learned from this fight?
I feel so 3 months ago I started working with a boxing coach, and it's my first time in my professional career that I've actually worked with a boxing coach, like a specific boxing coach, right? We obviously have boxing rounds at my gym at the Minnesota Martial Arts Academy with Greg Nelson, Nat McIntyre, but boxing coach specifically, and I felt like I had a lot more output this fight than in my previous fight, so I learned that boxing is awesome, and I want to keep working on my boxing and keep trying to fix my holes in my game, so.